Octopath Traveler is officially out now for the Nintendo Switch, and if you're an RPG fan, you're probably wondering if the game is up your alley. It's an open-world game that combines 16-bit Super NES-style character sprites and textures, with polygonal environments and high-def effects, in which you navigate as one of 8 adventurers, all of whom begin their journey in their own unique way from a different part of the world. So what do you need to know about the game? Well, for starters, it's received generally favorable reviews, praised for its innovative battle system and character progression. On the flip side of that, other reviews claim that the stories of the 8 playable characters were all a little repetitive, putting the game's replayability factor into question. That being said, the ability to choose between 8 characters right from the get-go opens up a lot of opportunity for players, and allows you to pick a character that will fit into your playstyle with ease. The best way to approach this is to view the 8 characters as fitting into 2 different categories: warriors and mages. Warrior characters are Hannett, Oberek, Therion, and Tressa, whereas the magic-based characters can be deemed as Alphen, Cyrus, Ophelia, and Primrose. Alphen and Tressa are middle ground characters though, so if you can't quite choose, they are good compromise options. So, what's the main difference between the more magic-inclined characters and those who prefer to hack and slash? Well, warriors have higher HP and can deal with taking damage better, whereas mage characters are more vulnerable to damage despite being powerful in other regards. Each character also has their own individual pros and cons to consider. So let's go through them, starting off with Alphen. Alphen is an apothecary and is great for healing. He also has a fairly cheap healing spell early on in the game. In addition to that, he has a concoct ability that can mix multiple items together in order to create new materials, which are pretty valuable to your overall party, although this ability can be tricky. You don't know what combinations do what until you unlock them, so it's best to try this ability out in easier combat scenarios rather than risk it in more difficult battles. Cyrus is a scholar, and is the easiest of the mage characters to start the game with because of 2 factors. He starts with relatively high damage spells and can identify characters' weaknesses. On the flip side of that, he's also pretty frail from the get-go. Moving on to Hannett. She's a hunter and has the most starting abilities in the game, using a bow and axe along with beast summons and hunter skills. She can also capture enemies to use as future summons in a limited way. On top of that, she can heal herself courtesy one of her summons right from the beginning of the game. But you also need to get a hang of her summoning quickly, otherwise you'll likely get confused while micromanaging the ability, causing you to slip up. Oberek is a straightforward warrior, whose main ability allows you to challenge people to duels in order to gain additional training through leveling. Essentially, he's brute force. He relies on the least amount of spells, and starts off with high amounts of defense and health points, making it easier to endure dungeons. Ophelia is a cleric. She can heal right from the beginning of the game and primarily relies on healing spells. But because of that, it's recommended that she isn't a character to start off with, rather easier to bring in later on during another character's journey. Primrose is next, and she's a dancer. If that wasn't overly odd enough, she's a fairly unique character, whose allure ability recruits humans as party members. She's also recommended for more experienced RPG players because of her dancing skills, which require a lot of setup and planning since they only work for a short amount of time. Therion is a thief who grows more beneficial as you progress in the game. He steals items and equipment, some of which you can initially benefit from, but will become useful later on, especially with other team members. His first boss is quite challenging without leveling up and getting his HP thief skill ahead of time, so worth noting. Moving on to Tressa, who is a merchant. She starts the game off with a lot of items and wind magic. She's great at haggling, with the ability to see if NPCs and shops are selling something for a cheaper price. She's also got a rest ability, which can be useful since initially a lot of her attacks don't hit hard, and battles can be a bit more tedious for her from the start. So, after you've picked your character, what's next? Well, you should upgrade your wares as soon as possible. Exploring the village that you start off in is key, and make sure you keep an eye out for hidden treasure chests that are usually tucked away behind buildings and other structures. Stock up at the equipment shop and get the least expensive armor and weapon upgrades to get you going. Also be sure to get yourself a hearty amount of healing grapes, which restore HP and are incredibly useful in combat. Make sure you get some herbs of healing, which cure poison, and the herb of awakening, which does exactly what its name suggests. Speaking of combat, there's a few things you should know. The game operates on 2 main principles when it comes to combat: breaks and boosts. A boost is like a temporary power-up that you gain every time it's your character's turn. You can use 3 boosts during a turn, and save up to 5. Boosts operate under a use it or lose it method, so depending on when you choose to use your boost can be crucial to the outcome of a battle. That's where breaks come in. Enemies have something called breaks. Next to their health bars, there's a small shield icon that has a number inside of it. If you attack that enemy using a means that they are particularly weak to, say wind magic for example, the number in the shield drops, and the enemy will break for that turn, essentially stunning them. If you can time your boost with breaks, this can be super effective. If a strong foe is charging up an attack and takes multiple turns to do so, if you break them, that will prevent them from using that move. Or if you choose to use your boost to break a foe, it'll give you more time to heal. So essentially, boosts and breaks are most effective when approaching them strategically, and every foe requires a different strategy. Combining the skills that you unlock per character with the breaks and boosts is also crucial too. Now a few other tips and tricks. Make sure you're constantly saving and constantly healing, as you would with any other RPG. If you get a game over screen, the game is actually over. There's no respawning, so saving is critical. Because of this, it's advised that you heal as much as possible before going into a new battle. You can also fast travel in the game, so be sure to make use of that. And don't be afraid to rely on your map. It's more helpful than you think it will be. Plus, take heed of the recommended level that each chapter suggests. What else do you need to know before buying the game? Well, if you're someone who likes the grind of an RPG leveling up process and doesn't mind repetitive dungeons, you'll probably dig the game. If you like playing RPGs for the combat with a bit of story on the side, you'll dig the game. If you're looking for a fully immersive RPG with complex characters outside of their abilities and skills in combat, then you probably won't be a huge fan. The combat, as you can probably gauge, is the strongest aspect of the game, along with the game's aesthetics and a killer soundtrack. Alright, so what do you guys think? Is Octopath Traveler up your alley? Do you think you'll buy it? And if not, why? Give us a shout in those comments below and let us know all of your thoughts. Please spread the love and hit that like button. And be sure to subscribe to Top 10 Gaming for all things video games, from news to updates to lists and more. In the meantime, thank you for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.